and welcome to my channel, Christy Michaels Crafts and More. Tonight, because it is tonight for me, and it is actually New Year's Eve, it is actually my daughter's birthday. We have had a party. It was a really great day. We had some really good food, and I'm sneaking out here, do a little bit more crafting before we do New Year's Eve festivities and watch the ball drop and all that fun stuff. So everybody's kind of having some downtime. What we're going to do tonight, or at least what I'm going to start, I'm going to recreate the card that I made for my daughter. So it's going to be a little better than this one. There's some things that I learned. I did record this one, but it took like an hour and a half because I went down a whole different path. And then when I decided to make it the shaker, I was like, oh, that's the ticket. And I really like it. I think it's cute. She really likes the pink drink from Starbucks. So that is what I was going for, even though that's kind of not really, but it's super cute and I really like it. So that's what we're doing tonight, today, whenever this actually gets published. But I'm very excited. So let's go ahead and look at what I have here. We'll go down to the table and we'll talk about what we're going to use tonight. And then we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you. Let's have some fun. Happy crafting. All right, here we are at the table. So I've got some things that we're going to use today to create this card. I still can't figure out how to make this turn the other way, or be not backwards. I'm not sure, but it's fine. Maybe it isn't backwards. Maybe it is for me. But anyway, here's what we're going to be doing. This is a shaker. There's some cute little clay things on the outside. So I used a stencil, and then I did use a stamp on the inside, and then wrote, obviously that was her card from today. So some things we're going to use. So I have these super cute stencils. I will have everything that I can find linked below. Some of this stuff I've gathered and it isn't something I've kept track of. So I'll try to do more of that as I go along, but I don't, when I kind of started stamping again, I just bought stuff because it was cool and I liked it. So I didn't really keep track of where they were from. So anyway, this is a 3-part stencil. It is so cute. I love it so much. We're going to use that. We're going to use these cute little clay hearts and stuff. These are from Michaels, actually, Recollections. So I bought these at Michaels. So those will be really fun. We're going to use this stamp set. I'm going to use this Wish Big. I mean, I could change my mind, but I really like the way her card turned out. So I'm going to do that because this will be one that I'll probably have on my site to sell. If anybody's interested. Also, I do a few shows during the year, and maybe I'll send it to somebody else. I always like to send birthday cards to people, and that's the whole point of making a card, is to send it to somebody else that would would enjoy it. So I'll use the Wish Big, and then I use this It's Your Birthday, which is cute, but there's different ones here. Like it could be From All of Us, Let's Celebrate. There's other really cute sentiments. I have a few different ones of these. So we're going to do that. Then I have this coffee one. I've used this a million times, so I don't know who makes it. I will find it or something similar. I just recently ordered a couple new coffee dies. But this one I really like. So the only thing I'm going to use on here is the whipped cream and the straw. I originally went a different route and then I changed my mind. So then these go in here. So I'm going to use this coffee cup and then that coffee cup. And then I forgot on this stencil, I'll be using, it comes with dies. So I'll be using the dies to cut out the Wish Big and the It's Your Birthday, wherever that's at. So yeah, so we'll be doing that. Then what else do we have here? So what else? This, I did stamp and use this on the inside. This was really cute. This actually came out of my Spellbinders Advent calendar this year for 2023. And it's just a super cute font. I just used the Happy Birthday, but these are all, you could do another little sub-sentiment. Maybe I will. I'm not really sure. So stencils that we talked about the clay hearts. I'm going to be using some VersaFine Claire in Nocturne. I'm going to be using at least 3, if not 4 different colors. I'm going to use Gathered Twigs. I actually used a different color for this one, I think. Maybe not. Maybe I did use Gathered Twigs. I don't know, but that's what I'm going to use this time. Some Spun Sugar, some Kitsch Flamingo, and then picked Raspberry. So those are the inks that I'm going to use. And that, I think, is other than the machinery, I'm going to use my Spellbinders Platinum behind me. I've got a mini machine that I'll use, various other regular stuff that I'll be using throughout, and blending brushes and whatnot. So let's go ahead. I'm going to kind of clear my space here, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, wonderful. Well, here we are, and I actually have my waffle flower grip mat out. This is a really great tool for when you're stenciling. For other things too, I have one in each of my Misties, which I love. But for stenciling, it's great. It's like a big, large polymer stamp, clear stamp is basically what it is. And you are able to just stick your paper down, and you don't have to secure it with tape or anything like that. And then you put your stencil down. This particular stencil has 3 different stencils that coordinate. So we're going to use the 3 different colors that I talked about earlier, and see how it just sticks right on there. You don't have to do any securing, which is really nice. Now, if you have a more delicate stamp, that you could possibly want to use something like a pixie spray or something, or stamp, a delicate stencil, excuse me. You would want to use something like a pixie spray to kind of help hold the stencil down on the paper, because it's not stuck to the paper. But for this one, I didn't have any problems with that. It was really easy. And it was so easy to do the ink blending. I'm not really sure why I was showing my little metal tray there. There was something in there, but not really sure what that was. But anyway, here I am cleaning my blending brushes. I'm using my distressed oxides today. This is Spun Sugar. So here I'm just going and using circular motions to pick up the ink and then to transfer it to the paper. There's you can use a lighter touch or a heavier touch. I tend to just be really heavy-handed. For this, it was perfect. I'm trying really hard to get a little better at that. So use a little bit of a lighter touch. I've got a new video coming up where I feel like I did a better job, and I'm really excited about that. So I'm always learning. I watch some of my favorite crafty YouTubers, and I am constantly learning from the amazing things they're doing, which is wonderful. So this is where I learned this technique. So there's our first one. So we're done with Spun Sugar now. So we'll peel that stencil up, and I'm just going to set it to the side. But what I typically do is I do go run those underneath the water in my sink, in my sprayer, before the ink really gets settled. So I get all 3 of these done, and then I do that. So because it really doesn't take very long to get these ink blended. Now, if you're using something like a paste, like a solar paste or anything like that, you're really going to want to get those cleaned off right away. And your brushes, that you wouldn't use these kind of brushes for a paste, but like if you're like a spreader brush, I forget what those are called, palette knife, thank you. That's what it is. So anyway, you want to get that stuff cleaned up pretty quickly because it dries fast. This is a little bit different, and they just rinse right off, and I've not really had any problems. So here I am using Gathered Twigs I really wanted it to look like coffee in my cups, even though I really was going for a pink drink look with Abby's card, but it doesn't really matter because you know what, it turned out really cute. And then of course that's the top of the cup, and then the wrapper for it. I don't know, I can't find words, but you know what I'm talking about. So so that you don't burn your hands. So anyway, there's 3 different kinds of coffee cups on this one. So it's super cute though. I just really like it. So yeah, so I might have been using a smaller brush there. I'm not really sure. Nope, I was using a regular size brush. I do have a couple different sizes of brushes that I use, depending on what you're doing. So I also have pouncers. I don't use pouncers too much, just because they've been newer to me. And then here's the third stencil. We're just placing that down. And we're going to use one of our darker pinks. So I think I can't really tell. I think that's picked raspberry. No, maybe it's Kitsch Flamingo, but either one would look really nice. So it's a good, I think I was like, ooh, this is too pink. So I think I might have went with picked raspberry, but it turned out really good. So the thing is with all your inks, they really dry back a little differently, softer. I'm guessing that different inks dry back a little differently. I typically only use distressed oxides. I just started my pigment ink collection. I do have some Ranger pigment inks, but I just started my regular size pigment ink collection through Simon Says Stamps, so Positively Saturated. So I finally settled on a brand because I decided I wanted to stick with one brand if I was just starting out. I just have 3 colors. I went with some pinks since, you know, people are, you know, we're kind of working on Valentine's Day stuff. So here we are. I'm just cleaning that off, getting everything cleaned off. Now we're going on to step number 2. So same mat. This is the Waffle Flower grip mat, and what I was explaining there is that I was really trying to, I needed the background and the, I wanted the whipped cream and the straw and everything to be the same kind of color, but I didn't want it to be white. So I went ahead and did some ink blending. See, there's me getting that hot pink off of there, because I don't want this hot pink. I just use a paper towel. Learned that from one of my favorite YouTubers, just to get most of the ink off of there. So we're using Spun Sugar, nice light pink, and I'm just going to ink blend a piece of paper so that it matches, and then I will do my stamping and die cutting on top of it. One of the things that I found when I was creating the first card is that I did my stamping first, and then I did some ink blending on it afterwards, and I didn't really like the way it muted the black of my ink. So I felt like I don't know, I just didn't like that. So I decided on this card that I really wanted to have the ink down first, and then I would do my stamping on top of it. So this is just me doing some ink blending. I like that it looks, you know, a little, that's the idea behind ink blending, you know, that I really want it to be a little, you know, I wanted to use the word uneven, but I just like the way that looks. So I guess I'm also talking about how I'm going to do Wish Big on there too. And then I'm going to do some splattering. I'm going to do some splattering on the other panel. You're going to see that here in just a few seconds. I was showing my Brutus Monroe Aqua Pigment Gilded Pigment. It is a really cool, it's really cool. I think it's probably my favorite. So here I'm talking about using that, and see how those match up, the pinks match. And then I am going to go ahead and I'm only going to splatter this part of the card. That's, I think, coming up next here, but it turned out really good. You can kind of see how it dries back. Yep, there's my splatter box. This is mine, just the top of something, probably I got from Costco, I'm sure. So I just use a fan brush with it. You can see that I already splattered, because I do tend to splatter in a different place, trying to keep things as clean as possible. I use a fan brush. I think you can do anything you want. And I just stick it in a little cup a little bit, because it's kind of a squeegee dropper, and then I put my brush in there and I just splatter it on. There are different distress sprays, and this one I'm showing a different silver shimmer spray. That one actually comes in a spray bottle. So you could use the sprayer, but you could also use your brush. I kind of like the brush idea. I like the control that I get. This is something different. This is it's like a pen that you could color some sparkle onto your pages. So I like the splatter. I think it's my favorite effect, and I tend to use it a lot. I love the way it looks. All right, well, now we're going to get our card base going, because what we're going to need to do is, you know, start building our card and building the shaker portion of it. And so we have a piece of white dove that I got. It's Recollections paper from Michaels. It is 4.25 by 5.5 is where I am cutting this out for not cutting. I'm folding it as a top folding card. So that tends to be my favorite is a top folding, but it does depend on what you're putting on it actually. So here I'm just using the different bone folder. That one has a better grip for me, so it's easier for me to use. The paper is always uneven, forever uneven, and it's super annoying. So I just go ahead and I do the folding and I snip it off, because if I fold before, it's still uneven. It makes no sense to me. It's just the paper. It's not, you know, super high premium, expensive paper. I'd love to switch to a, you know, Nina classic, you know, a Nina maybe, or something like that, or some people use Bristol, but for now, this is what I have, and, you know, I'm still kind of a beginner, so I'm gonna use what I have, and it's great. So here I am pulling out a bunch of scraps, because I'm probably gonna need those. I've got all my panels, the different things that I'm going to use here, my trusty scissors and my tweezers. I use every scrap of paper. It's really interesting in card making. You know, you can just save every little tiny bits and pieces, and you can use them, which is great. So here, what I'm doing, because I really love that. To build up my layers. You know, I like the dimension that it gives, providing a little bit of shadow behind the whatever it is on there. I love dimension a lot. I like foam squares are great, and I use those as well, or foam tape when I'm putting the whole panel down. But if I'm just doing pieces, I really like to build it up with paper. I love the way that looks. So there's, you know, a fair amount of die cutting in the things that I make, but I really like it. So it's interesting. I wasn't a die cutter. I've never really been a die cutter. I've just, you know, last year bought my first die cut machine, but I love it. You know, I have a Cricut. I use my Cricut all the time, but not for card making. I use it for a million other things, actually. And so it will not go to waste for sure. But I really liked it. I just love the way it looks. I like the pressed edges on the dies. I just think it looks great. So here I'm just creating, you know, I tend to do like 3 layers, you know, two underneath to stack it up, and then one, which is my, my final, you know, layer with the inking and whatever, the wording, whatever I'm doing. So I'm just getting everything kind of going, and yeah, so cutting things. That's my little machine. So I do have a Platinum Spellbinder 6. It's big, and I love it, and it works wonderful. But when I'm just sitting at my table, I tend to pull out that little guy. Would I like something a little different? Yeah, like an electronic little guy. I'm thinking about it. I think that might be the ticket. I've been trying to decide what to do. Like, I'd like to have a little one that's just easy, and maybe it's an electronic little one. That would be good. That's a good idea. I just thought of that right this very second. So, and they're fairly inexpensive. I really want the Anna Griffin. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do the Anna Griffin. Everybody says that's great. So here I am using that ink blended panel. And I'm going to do my inking, right? So the straw, the whipped cream, I want the whipped cream to be pink as well. And then I'm pulling out, I believe, the other stamp set, because we're going to do the Wish Big, and then the sub-sentiment that says happy birthday to you, or something like that, if I remember correctly. Yep. See, I was just showing you why I didn't need a background, you know, behind where all of those little clay hearts will go. I'm going to use VersaFine Clair in Nocturne because it is a really inky black. It's beautiful. I love it. It's my favorite. So I just did all that. I did my die cutting off camera, and now we're going to go ahead and glue these things. So we're going to stack them up and do some gluing. I use Barely Arts Precision Glue. I love this glue. I actually do have another one too that's really good, but this is my favorite. I really like it. These are the tweezers I use. I have reverse tweezers, but I can't seem to figure out. I mean, I know how they work, but I'm just not as good at them. I need to, because it'll be better on my hands, but I tend to just grab these little tweezers and go, and I love them, and they work great. And I can actually, I didn't do it here. I was using my fingers, which is, everything's a little off camera. So I'll start to get better at that. But you can kind of squish things together with these tweezers. I just really like that. I'm kind of a daughter when it comes to gluing. That's easier on my hand too. So, yeah, there's a lot of sorry, I gotta get better at that. So little tiny sub-sentiment, and then we're gonna put the cute little pink one on top. They stamped beautifully, they really did, and it looks much better because the black is very crisp, which is what I was looking for. You know, in hindsight, I think that brown, the gathered twigs, would have looked really pretty on there too, just to kind of cohesively put everything together, but that's okay. This is still really cute. It looks like over there on the left that I may have already cut out my coffee cup out of the panel. I guess we'll find out here in just a second. I didn't realize that I did that part off camera too. But really, you know, because it's a shaker card, right? And so I can see that I'm going to have acetate, so we'll get there. But right now, I'm just trying to get everything glued. So putting my pin back in the bottle so my glue doesn't dry. There's my sheet of acetate. And this is, oh yes, this is just me trying to decide where I want my coffee cup. So that was just a little practice piece. So, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that die and I'm going to cut it right out of the panel. And then I'm going to put another pink panel behind it. And which I guess I didn't show me coloring two of them, but I did. So I did one where I cut everything out, and then another one that actually just sits behind this particular, behind this panel. So yeah, so here I am just trying to figure out where everything's going to go. I'm going to, tape it on there with my mint tape. Get that from scrapbook.com. I love it. And then just trying to, because one of the things I did on the original card was the straws not straight like it would actually sit. I mean, I don't know that I'm sure she didn't notice, you know, but for me, I really noticed. So that was one of the things. I just wanted everything to look like it actually was natural, I guess, if that makes sense. So there I did. I cut that off camera and pulling up my mint tape, and we've got an open spot now, which is great. That's perfect. Exactly what we were looking for. There's my pink panel. See how cute that'll be, and that'll be the background. And again, I just continually, when I'm creating, this is how the last video got to be an hour and a half, and why I redid it was because, you know, I changed my mind, right? And that's okay to change your mind. And I really did. I changed it completely. It looked very different, and it wouldn't have been nearly as cute. This one turned out really cute. I was real happy with it. So now I'm just going to cut down a piece of acetate and get that glued on. There's different ways to put your acetate on here. You can use like red line tape, double-sided tape, which is double-sided tape, some kind of double-sided or double-sided tape. Oh, that is what I did. You can also use glue. So this one I did that, but then I made something else recently and I used glue, and it like the Barely Arts, and it worked just fine too. So I would like to get some better acetate. So I got this stuff at Michael's. I tend to, you know, it's inexpensive. A lot of times I can use a coupon and things like that. So that tends to be what I do. But as I get better at things, I am going to, I'll spend a little bit more money on it because it won't be wasting, right? You know, so I think that looks really cute. It's going to be adorable. Here I am testing everything out again. I just want to make sure that everything's going to line up the way I want to at each step in the process. So it takes a little bit of time. I think if I were to, I did speed up the video because I didn't say that earlier, but I do not. My hands don't work that fast. So. But I did speed up the video like it's 2 times, whatever that means on here. So not much, but a little bit. But I think it was like an hour and 5 minutes in total before I did that. It probably took a little bit longer because there were things that I did off camera. So, you know, maybe it took a couple hours to see. That was the original one I did. I thought, oh, it'd be so cute with ice in there, and I didn't really like it. I overlapped some of the ice and it looked weird. I kind of feel like if I did it, I would pop it up, or I'm not sure. I'm gonna try the ice, but I don't know where. So now I'm just getting everything glued in place for the top of my card. It's looking really good, actually. I love it. I think it's so cute. Oh, and this is just the voiceover, and I already made it, and I still just really love the way it looks. I wish you could see the sparkle that the splatter, that aqua pigment gilded. It's aqua pigment, and gilded is the color. It's like gold. It's so pretty. Everything's it's in the in the description box. I think most everything is. I know I'm still working on some of the things I gotta add. But yeah, I'm just getting things finished up. We're really close to the end, which is exciting. So getting all the bits and pieces on here. Here I am doing my glue dots. That's my way, and I really like it. So getting things nice and straight. I do have a T-square. I probably should use it more often, but yeah, I think I was trying really hard to get that because it looks like it's not square, and then I probably just said, oh well, it's okay. It is okay. It is a homemade card. That's something that, you know, we have to remember. So we put a lot of time into these too, so you know, it's just that's what, oh, there's the T-square. See, it did come out, and look at how uneven it was. So it's good to use that. I'm not very proficient in it, so I don't know. I just get better. I'll get better, and I'll get better. So I get proud of myself when I have like a, you know, truly my own idea. All right, so foam tape. So I think this is just 3M foam tape. I bought it on Amazon. Next time I buy foam tape, I'm going to buy the Big Mama rolls from, I think it's Simon Says Stamp, and I'm going to try that. They have a couple different thicknesses, so different lofts, and I love the idea of that, so I kind of want to do that. These are my non-stick scissors that I bought from Amazon. And I think off camera, you can't see me, I'm gonna have to fix that, but I'm cutting it in half because I needed a thinner spot. And then my extra pieces, I just tape, or, you know, I just put them back on the side, because you can always reuse them. So, yeah, so I cut that in half because I didn't want it to show through. That was something that happened on the original card, was that, it had, you could see the foam tape, and I was like, oh man. So anyway, you know, lessons learned, as I said in the beginning. So here is getting things finished up. We're almost to the part where we're gonna add, oh, I'm so excited, add our little, our filler, which is really fun. So I only want it in that one spot because I also don't want it to settle down below where you can't see it. So, you know, I wouldn't have minded this tape being a little thicker loft. It does shake totally fine. There's no problem with it, but it might have worked a little better. But anyway, I could have doubled it up too. That's something I see people doing as well. So, but it's really cute, and I really like it. So, just trying to, I have all those little tiny pieces, so, you know, might as well use them. And this was a good way to do it because I just really wanted only that one spot where the shaker bits will go. So yeah, so I think we're just about there. I'm putting another one because I don't want any squishy spots. You know, it needs to be completely full. Yep, there we go. That looks really good. So yeah, lots of tape. And then here I'm using a triangle tray. I got a million of those for Christmas. It was on my Amazon list, and so it's a whole bunch of them, which is really nice, because, you know, they might get lost, and there's all different kinds of reasons you can use them. So I love them. So I'm just peeling off my the backers from my foam tape so that I can get it put down to the base, my card base. So we're really close here. I will put the bits in right after this. So I peel the backers off because it's really easy to flip the card up when you're doing that, and then you get shaker bits everywhere. And depending on what kind of shaker bits you're using, you could make a really big mess, which is not ideal. So, and that is okay. So there I go. I'm gonna put it in there. Yeah, trying to decide how many. I don't know. It's a tough call. I never know really how much to put in. But look at how cute they are. So I was trying to get them kind of all flat, so it's only one layer. Because yeah, I was just I want them to move around right. So yeah. So now I can put that pink. It's white on the back, but that is actually the pink background. There you go. And stick that on there. Make sure it's glued. Look at how cute. That's me shaking it. I did not a very good job keeping it in camera. Oh, look, you can see the gold on there. Look at how the light hits it. So that's nice. So yeah. So now I'm going to go ahead and do some gluing. You know, I should have put my my inside sentiment in before I did this part, but I didn't. You know, next time I'll probably use glue tape. I don't really know. I mean, the glue, this kind of glue, I feel like lasts longer. So I think that's why I do it. You also get a little bit of wiggle room with liquid glue. You have no wiggle room with foam tape, foam tape or tape runners, excuse me. And so there just isn't any. So, you know, it just depends on your preference too. Like I was a big glue tape person forever. But now I love liquid glue. I think it works wonderful and I almost use it, you know, exclusively really. And this particular brand as well. I really like Barely Arts. It's a good one. So now I'm going to add some more little hearts. It's just fun to just add a little bit of extra, you know, touches to this. And there were some spots where you could add some more of those clay hearts and I thought that was really cute. I try to use an uneven number, which is why I did that. I think that's what I ended up going with. I think I was trying to decide if it should be an uneven number. So anyway, I did this. They're totally almost done. Oh yeah, see how cute that is. I must have used a white one on it. It's a little hard to tell on my lighting. But that's okay. Yeah, there's that. Using my point, you know, my I forget what those are called. So, but they work wonderful. I have a Gina K one and I have one from Trinity Stamps and they are wonderful. Pick and stick. I don't think that's what they're called. I think the one from Simon Says Stamps is called a pick and stick and theirs is a little bit different. I want that one too because I want to try it. It has a different end on it instead of that wax tip. My Gina Kane one, the wax tip is broken, so I'm going to order some new ones, but still. So anyway, just making sure I put the top back of my glue so it doesn't dry, getting things put away. I try really hard to keep everything as cleaned up as possible as I'm creating, just because then it's not a hot mess. I mean, it always is anyway, but you know. So we're very close. So now I've decided, oh, I need to do my inside sentiment because I do think it's cute to have something on the inside. I won't say that I do it every time. I think it depends. I don't have the best handwriting, so I am not a fan of writing in my cards. I mean, obviously I have to write in my cards. But yeah, so something I decided, I didn't put the sentiment up higher in the one I did for Abby. And I think you should. So I think that's something, it's just my preference because I'll write underneath. And what ends up happening is I say I don't want to write and then I write a lot and then I run out of room and I don't really like that. So, yeah. So we'll let that dry. I used VersaFine ink, VersaFine Clair in Nocturne again. And that's a very wet ink, so, and very inky. So we want to make sure that that gets clean. So... yeah, look at how good that looks. So I got a little ink on it and I was like, oh man. So I decided to pull out my sand eraser and try to erase some of that ink off. And a lot of times that works pretty well actually. You know, it depends on how much ink there is. But that's really it. Thank you all for watching my card project. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Happy crafting.